just Minato alive, Kushina, and all that crap. It's just, but this time it's Christian, Naruto, and Minato are the only ones alive. Christian has half the Nine Tails. He goes, he has red hair, like Kushina does, and dark blue eyes, like Minato has. I think Minato has dark blue eyes. Christian was an absolute prodigy, so with Naruto, these two would be on top of each other. Christian's IQ level is like 1,000. He knows a lot about the Leaf Village. That's why Minato, he's basically the best source. The Leaf Village to know things. Then they call a clan meeting. They call a meeting with all the clans in the Leaf Village to make a decision. He says, Christian's about 7 years old, and he's in the academies at the top with Sasuke and Naruto. He goes, Fugaku says, Minato, why did you bring your kid here? He says, if you think he's just a normal kid, then you're wrong. He goes, alright, so why'd you call us here exactly? He says, we need to distribute out all kinds of things around this. We're low on shinobi. We need more shinobi. Strong shinobi that'll help us out. He goes, well, what can we do? The Uchiha already been trusted. He says, that's why he's here. He goes, Christian says, alright people, let me explain. So, what we need to do is gain trust between each other, get peace treaties, send out our youngest shinobi, our Genin, make them stronger with our Jonin. We need to train these Genin and Jonin up to the maximum of their powers. How about this? The new batch of Genin, we're going to go through each Genin, training the Jonin, and if they're failures, they will remain as failures. We need more. He says, if we can distribute a peace treaty through every single clan, the Uchiha will go back to the village, and we just need all the forces. He says, Fugaku says, for a kid, you're really smart. He says, that's why I was here. He goes, and you talk back. He goes, I don't care. I am not afraid. He goes, even if your name's Fugaku or the Wicked Eye, I don't care. I wouldn't care if you're the Sage 6th class, I still would talk back. Even though that's what you do in a conversation. He goes, well, I'm gonna go now. He says, my brother's senses are tingling. Someone's trying to attack Naruto. Then he disappears and then catches the punch. But then you realize that it was just a sparring match. He says, sorry guys, my alarm usually goes off if Naruto's about to get attacked by somebody. He says, I need to scan you, Sasuke, because you're the only one he really trains with. He scans Sasuke, saying, there we go, that's better. Now my alarm will go off if you're fighting Sasuke. He says, well, here goes nothing. About 5 years later, because remember they're 7 years old, they're in the top academy class. Everyone in the academy is super strong. They need maximum forces. So every day, the kids are being 5 juniors selected to each Genin in this thing. Well, actually, let's just go into the exam. So it's Christian, Naruto, Sasuke. They're on the perfect team together. These three. Then they don't have any time for games and for useless crushes. We got Ino Yamanaka, Choji Akimichi, and Shikamaru Nara. Then we have Kiba Inuzuka, Kiba Inuzuka, Shino Aburame, Hinata Hyuga. Sakura didn't make it. Then we also have Rock Lee, all that crap. They need a strong Genin. They don't need Sakura fangirling over Sasuke. Ino sometimes does, but she usually sticks to her own goals. Christian says, alright guys. Sasuke says, you were very brave 5 years ago. He goes, you're still bringing up 5 years ago? Jeez, not my fault my IQ is insane. He says, I mean, that wasn't really saying that your IQ is bad. I mean, like, didn't you take an IQ test and it was like 1,000? He goes, yeah, I have a lot of intel. He says, because my sources. Then they're on team with Kakashi says, before we start I'm gonna have to tell you guys an important message right after this. He says, he asked them a quick question. What did you guys do in the academy? Christian says, usually they just held out bells. Usually the teachers held out bells and we all had to work with teamwork to try and get them. He goes, great. He says, now introduce yourselves. Sasuke says, I am Sasuke Uchiha. I want to be stronger than my big brother, and I want to be the best in the Uchiha clan. He goes, that sounds like a pretty one. He says, any hates? He says, yeah, I do hate a lot. He says, I don't really hate anything. He says, now you, redhead. He says, my name's Christian Uzumaki. I hate a lot of things. I don't really hate a lot. I like ramen, training, and being smart. Just seems fun. I also love going to the clan meetings. Those are fun. I get to actually listen in and actually suggest stuff. He goes, things I hate and my dreams for the future? I don't really hate anything, but my dream for the future is to get Shinobi, is for all of us to get super strong and then protect our village from everybody. He says, he smells saying, perfect. Christian says, well, I can't tell your expression, but whatever. Christian says, we all know you don't like anything, Kakashi. There's no point in saying it. He goes, how do you know? He says, don't even say how do you know your name. You've known us since we were children. He goes, you guys are still technically children. He says, yeah, we are. He says, well, tomorrow we get on with the bell test, and we're going to be doing such harsh training. Every day you guys will have 10 Jonin to train you. Every single day. They will go around training each group, and I will be switching groups as well. And all Jonin, each day you'll get different ones. So Team 7 just starts their training. They go, learning brand new techniques. Each time, they bring the Scroll of Sealing to learn new jutsus and techniques. But then, one day when they're training, they get a brand new Jonin / thing. They get a pervy old man. Christian says, he says, Jiraiya Sensei! He jumps up saying, pervy sage! He goes, I thought I told you not to call me that. He says, and I thought you not to call me Christian boy. He goes, oh yeah. He goes, Naruto says, you know who this is? He says, he's a legendary Sannin. He can train us a lot. Even this guy alone is stronger than all of us combined. He says, yeah, I think we knew that. By the title. So they start to train, going, training with all their might. 1 month later, they are super strong. They're already on Jonin level with their techniques. Christian's mastered water style, lightning style, and fire style, and wind style. Naruto's mastered wind style, water style, and lightning style. Sasuke's mastered lightning and fire style, and earth style, some of earth style. Christian can activate the QBIs on purpose and actually do it, and actually control it. But then he has 7 spirits in his head, then he has some spirits in his head. He goes, who are you guys? As he backflips and charges up a Chidori, since he learned that he created his own jutsu called Purple Lightning. He goes, who are you? As he activates Purple Lightning, and why are you in my mindscape? They don't answer, and he goes, ah! And goes to hit him with it. Madara blocks with his fan, but his fan is usually broken in half. He goes, ah! But then regenerates his fan. He says, look, we're here to train you better than they would. He says, okay, I'm down. He says, I already take your offer. We had the Sage of Six Paths, Indra, Ashura, Madara, Hashirama, Hamura. And that's basically it. He says, guys, I'm gonna go. I have another trainer to go to. Then he takes them to an area where no one can see them. Then he summons them all, going, summoning jutsu. Then the Alchemy says, let your training begin. And then he's training, going, then Christian does a secret technique on him. He goes for a flying Raijin like Minato does, going, ah! But then Madara blocks with a fan, but then he stands on his fan, and then he goes, what the? Then he says, Shadow Clone Jutsu! Then thousands of Shadow Clones come down with Rasengans going, Rasengan Super Barrage! Defeating him, going, he goes, then he keeps on training, going harder, going, Then he starts to train with Hashirama, learning his wood style techniques and his senju and his sage and his like awesome powers. Then he trains with Ashura, learning all kinds of techniques like the amethyst orb, the lightning wind barrier, the wind style vacuum wave bullet, the wind style air bullet. Then he trains with Indra, trying to learn more techniques. He goes, then it's time for the final training with the sage of 6 paths. When he's training with him, he creates a shockwave. When Minato comes to bring him lunch, because Minato knows he's here, he gets launched back. He goes, "Urgh." He walks over saying, "Christian, are you okay?" He goes, "Guys, ha ha." But then he says, "Who are they?" He says, "My trainers." He goes, "Madara Uchiha, Hashirama Senju, Indra Otsutsuki, and Ashura in the Sage of 6 Paths. Hagoromo, Otsutsuki, what are they doing here?" He says, "For some reason they appeared in my spirit and offered to train me." He goes, "And you didn't tell me?" He says, "I didn't think I had to." He goes, "Fuck, well, you can well, here's your lunch. You can train. Make sure to tell Naruto and Sasuke, because Sasuke will be needing some help with the Sharingan, and Kakashi's not too good with his. Kakashi's not a master within. He's not a blooded Uchiha." He says, an Uchiha. He says, "Oh yeah, Sasuke Uchiha, my reincarnation. I just don't like staying in his mind because it's boring." Then he teleports him, and Indra and him teleport to Naruto. Teleport to Sasuke, and they offer to train him. He agrees, and training with them non-stop, getting so much stronger. Ashura and Hashirama go to Naruto. Christian says, "Well, I guess it's just me and you. I guess it's just me and you two." They go, "Yeah." Then he just trains for a while, going, every one of them is getting so much stronger. And then they go on their first serious mission in the land of Waves Arc. He says, Also, he is the Uchiha fan. Sasuke is the Uchiha fan. Naruto has like the 2 blades of Hashirama and the scroll. Christian has the Sage of 6 Paths robe. And he's got the Truth Seeking orbs. They all have a weapon of their choice. In this thing, these are just like actual weapons. Unlike, they don't erase you when you touch them. Like, you don't turn into dust. He says, "So, how are you guys doing?" They all go. Christian says, "I can sense your chakra presence. I guess I guess Indra's and Madara's training worked for you, Sasuke." And Hashirama, then they all pull out their weapons. He says, "Nice." Sasuke says, "What's your weapon?" He puts his hand out, and then a True Seeking Orb staff comes in his hand and slams it on the ground, saying, "Brrrr." He says, "True Seeking Orb." He says, "I have 7 of them." I actually don't know how many True Seeking Orbs. I'm gonna go count them. Pretty sure it's about 10 of them. He goes, and says, "Well, guys, we need to be as strong as possible. Being able to master a one-tailed form." So then they go and take a bridge builder. He says, "These seem like good candidates." Then when they encounter the Demon Brothers, Naruto and Sasuke come. Christian, Naruto, and Sasuke spring into action. Christian binds them up with chakra chains, while Naruto and Sasuke kick their heads off, going, "Grrrm." He says, "Nice, guys." Then they fall to the ground. Christian burns them, going, Then they head out. Then a giant sword comes at him. Christian says, pulls out a True Seeking Orb and breaks the sword in half, going, "Ha!" He goes, "What was that?" Then the sword randomly reforms with water, and he says, Christian says, "You guys fought the Demon Brothers, I'll fight him." He goes, "Let's all do it." They all spring into action, going, they're doing a combo attack. He says, "You guys ready?" So Naruto goes, "Wood style deep forest emergence," wrapping him in it. Then Sasuke goes, "Fire style majestic, destroy destroyer flame." Then Naruto goes, "Wood style deep forest emergence," wrapping him in it. Then Sasuke goes, "Fire style majestic, destroyer flame." 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 burning him up. Then he says, "Is that all, Sasuke?" Then he creates more, going, more, then Sasuke increases his fire as well. They go, ah! It's still burning. Christian says, "Here goes my chance. Me, me, me!" Then he jumps into the air, going, "Oh, the Rasengan!" And defeats him. And they kill Zabuza, bringing Thing there. Bring Kazuno back, then they're announced for the Chunin exams. Christian says, "Dun-dun-dun-dun." He says, "I'm pretty sure we're ready for anybody."